I like to do DIY tasks, and this just happened to be the biggest DIY task that I'd ever done. My dad has been renovating my family home for 30 plus years and is still ongoing. The years of helping him renovate created in me, I guess, a hunger to want to complete a renovation project. I want him to see that, actually. The design of the apartment or the renovation, I would probably describe as an attempt at introducing natural materials. Maybe trying to bring some warmth and like softer tones and edges into the space. I'm Sean, I work as a Sustainable Building Officer at local government. This is my apartment, which I renovated myself.
Never Too Small Magazine Issue 1, jam-packed with stories, surprises, ideas and inspiration, all with you city dwellers in mind. Step into the world of Atama, where romanticism, artisanal craftsmanship and Italian flair are distilled into jewel box-like apartments. Visit the studio of Ramesh Mario Nithyendran, where Barbie, big cats and Buddhas inspire his colourful creations. Explore 3 of our favourite small footprint homes from around the world, each featuring nifty pull-out floor plans. And discover a treasure trove of vintage and pre-loved apartment finds. Interrogate the origins and appeal of a slouchy 70s icon. And meet our mate, Robbie Neville, who wants us to get better at making shit with the shit we already have. Find out why the Barbican is London's greatest mistake, and discover a new breed of pet furniture designed for style in our small footprint lives. Plus, there's storage porn, sexy bikes, chairs with bums, and a beautiful pull-out poster surprise. Buy issue 1 now in our store or join the NTS Sub Club and never miss an issue, all while enjoying free shipping. Visit nevertoosmall.com/magazine.
We're in Brunswick West. This building was constructed in the 60s. And when you look at the old aerial footage from back then, there's a tip and the pub, which is about 100 metres away. The pub's still there, the tip's now turned into a park, which is great. I purchased this apartment in 2022, I think. I was attracted to this apartment because of the simplicity of it. It had good bones and the interiors are pretty simple to work with. Also, the cost of it as well allowed me to have a bit of a vision for the renovation that I wanted to do. Being on the top level with single glazing, no external shading. Unfortunately, it was a bit of a hot box, so the insulation aspect was really important to me, particularly from what I do as my job, which is try and make buildings more sustainable. It had a really big kitchen island, which kind of broke the living and the kitchen area up, and it didn't have much storage. The main change in the end was really just the removal of the kitchen island. I had this grand idea at the very beginning to knock out the wall in between the living room and the bedroom, but there was implications in terms of structural and then extra cost. My budget for the renovation was $20,000, mainly because I only had $20,000 left, so I had to make that work. And we pretty much got everything done in that budget. I was very fortunate to have friends help me with free labour and a place to live while I was doing the renovation. I only really paid for the essential trades like an electrician and a plumber. I would drag as many of my friends over as I could, particularly during the demolition. I think they enjoyed that. We would drink a few beers and they'd bring hammers. When it got to doing the renovation, I could feel my uncertainty about what I was doing, let alone them. So I think then they transitioned to more of a drinking beers and just watching roll, but I needed the emotional support. Yeah. When you walk into the apartment, I guess the first thing you see is the window and a great view of the pub. Immediately to the right, we've got the existing wardrobe with the original paneling on top. I've painted the frame around it to kind of create a bit of separation and tie it back to the other timber elements that are in the apartment now. On the left, we've turned that into the pantry for the kitchen, and then turn one on the right to a bit of a linen closet. The kitchen itself is pretty simple IKEA cabinets, and then we've had custom cut plywood fronts stained a pistachio green and then covered with a sealer. We've got a recycled spotted gum bench top which has been sanded and oiled on top of that. I've replaced a standalone electric oven with a matching oven and induction cooktop. There's no dishwasher, so went for a bit of an oversized square basin. Sometimes I regret not having a dishwasher, but ultimately it seems to work. Doing everything DIY is great until you realize that you don't know how to do edging on tiles. So the timber edging was another last minute thing. It's ended up being perfect because it matches with the rest of the timber in the apartment and the bench top. The railing that holds a few of the utensils was actually the shower curtain rod from the original shower. Originally there was no extraction fan in the kitchen, and I haven't installed one because the apartment has really good cross ventilation. The dining room table is a simple white tulip table from Marketplace, but I believe it's an old IKEA version. The chairs were also purchased from Marketplace. I've reupholstered them myself. I think I got them for $10 each. The lounge room is pretty simple. Ordered a couch through Mond. I like the flexibility and the functionality of it as opposed to having a static sofa unit, I guess. Opted not to have a television and instead went for a projector which I've mounted on the ceiling. I have no regrets. It's really good. It feels like every night's a movie night, and I don't have the black square of having a TV that's not turned on constantly. When you walk into the bedroom, I guess the first thing is the door, which is a lovely fluted glass hardwood timber door, which I picked up secondhand. It was getting pulled out of a really old Art Deco apartment. The wardrobe, I just used IKEA Pax units, which are obviously just a standardized size. So they don't go all the way to the ceiling. So to overcome that, it was to oversize the doors. And so when it's all closed, it looks like one seamless unit that goes up to the ceiling. And then when you open them, you actually get an extra shelf on top of the wardrobe itself. The desk in the office is the old door between the living room and the bedroom. So I chopped that in half, and then just using some offcuts was able to build a stand for my computer as well. My friend and architect Marcus in Sydney, he was able to draw up the shelving unit for me that wasn't as bulky and overhead of my office area. The bed frame is a low Japanese base. The mattress is a futon as well, just to keep it low to the ground. The bedside tables were again a lovely Marketplace find for $50 each. There's a few art pieces on the wall. The one closest to the window is just a print I got from Etsy. The one in the middle is a painting by a friend of mine, Ara Cho. And then on the right is a print from another friend of mine, Octo, who's a tattooist and an artist in Melbourne. The bathroom, I kept the original tiling on the floors, which is an old green and white check. And the toilet has remained the same. Everything else has changed. We replaced the basin with more of a simple modern square design. Again, using offcuts, I was able to build a bit of a mirror box. And underneath a floating shelf, it hides the plumbing. I don't mind having it all exposed, I guess. Some people, it might not be their aesthetic. The door of the shower is a custom cut fluted glass and was one of the few things where I paid experts to do that. I don't want to be held responsible for holding a $1,200 piece of glass. The ceiling is excess hardwood flooring that was installed into an apartment in South Melbourne. It was painted in a mold resistant paint. trying to bring a little bit of that Scandinavian like sauna vibe into the bathroom. The excess tiles from the shower and the splashback we used to create a bit of a skirting board along the bottom as well. This apartment block has 6 apartments in it, and there are shared laundries in between each of the levels. There is no heating or cooling in this apartment, there's no air conditioner. The 2 main insulation things is the ceiling, we've put 3.5 like pink bats, and on the north and west internal walls installed cool therm the K17 board. I've gone for cork flooring. Cork is a great acoustic insulator. It also adds additional thermal kind of insulation to the floor as well. When I wake up in the morning and I look around, I'm still a bit like pinching myself that I was able to do it, that the vision came together. I guess my advice is to actually think about how you're going to execute either a design or the process of installing something, making sure that you measure twice, cut once, but to know that you can overthink it as much as you want and you'll probably still miss something. So to be easy on yourself if you do make a mistake. It's just a part of the DIY process. You get experts in obviously for like any of the electrical, any of the plumbing, and probably make sure you treat your friends nicely so they can help you when you want to do something as grand as this.
Sign up to our newsletter for subscriber-only content and exclusive offers. Visit nevertoosmall.com/subscribe.